All right, let's jump right in.
Yeah.
Today we're tackling Chennai.
Oh, yeah.
And, honestly, whether you're planning a trip or just kind of armchair traveling with us, I think you're going to come away
Absolutely.
with some serious Chennai envy by the time we're done. You've given us a ton of articles and notes, and we're going to do our best to pull out the coolest stuff, the stuff that'll make you the Chennai expert.
The Chennai guru.
Like at your next trivia night, or at least give you some ideas for when you get to visit. So, to kick things off, I'm going to turn to you, our Chennai expert, to set the stage.
Yeah.
What's the deal with Chennai?
Well, Chennai, formerly Madras, it's the capital of Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
And it's known as the gateway to South India.
Mm.
And that's not just hype,
Okay.
We're talking layers of history, a super vibrant culture, incredible beaches that just go on forever.
Wow.
And, did I mention the food?
Okay, you had me at food.
Okay.
But before we get there, let's talk about when to actually go, because I know you sent us some notes specifically asking about weather.
Right, yeah, smart move. Because Chennai's right on the Bay of Bengal.
Okay.
So it's tropical, which means you've got that sunshine, the warmth, but also the humidity. And the summers can get pretty intense.
Oh, yeah.
High 80s, even low 90s Fahrenheit.
So like visiting Arizona in July.
Exactly.
And not really my idea of a good time.
Right.
So we're thinking more like November to February.
Yeah, you got it.
Gotcha. Okay. Noted. But now let's talk about those must-see sites, because I am already picturing myself on Marina Beach.
Right.
And get this, it's over 13 kilometers long.
Yeah.
It's like running a half marathon just to get from one end to the other.
That's right. It's actually India's longest urban beach.
Wow.
It's truly spectacular, especially at sunset.
Oh, yeah.
But it's way more than just a pretty view, You've got street food vendors, lively crowds, kids flying kites.
Sounds great.
It's really the heart and soul of Chennai.
Yeah.
It's where the city comes alive.
Okay, I'm sold. Marina Beach, sunset, street food, check, check, check. But from what I'm seeing in these articles, Chennai's not just beaches, right?
Oh, no.
We've got the Kapaleeshwarar Temple.
Yes.
A 7th century temple dedicated to Lord Shiva. And this isn't just any temple, right? There's something special about this one.
Absolutely. The Kapaleeshwarar Temple is a prime example of Dravidian architecture.
Oh.
And for anyone who's not an architecture buff, that basically means these towering pyramid-shaped gateways called gopurams, all covered in these insanely intricate carvings. You could honestly spend hours just looking at the sculptures, They tell stories from Hindu mythology.
So it's like a history book and an art gallery all rolled into one.
Exactly.
I love that. And then, of course, we have to talk about Fort St. George.
Oh, of course.
Built by the British back in 1644. That's like olden times. I bet those walls could tell some stories.
They really could. The walls, the cannons overlooking the harbor, it's all this really powerful reminder of Chennai's colonial past and how it shaped the city.
Right.
It's fascinating how you have this ancient Dravidian temple and this imposing British fort practically side by side. It's like this visual representation of Chennai's layered history,
Yeah, talk about a history lesson.
Right.
You can actually see it, and it sounds like Fort St. George even has a museum inside.
It does.
Oh, cool.
Full of artifacts, paintings, all from the British East India Company era.
Wow.
It's like stepping back in time.
Okay, so we've got beaches, temples, forts, but Chennai doesn't stop there. I'm seeing a whole list of other attractions. Thome Basilica, built over the tomb of an apostle, so a pilgrimage site for many.
Right.
Veluvur Kodam, which is a chariot monument dedicated to a Tamil poet.
Yeah. How cool is that?
Pretty cool. And then Gindi National Park, right smack in the middle of the city, where you can see black bucks and deer.
It's incredible, how much variety Chennai packs into one city.
I know.
We want a taste of South Indian rural life? Head to DakshinaChitra.
Okay.
It's an open-air museum where you can wander through traditional houses, workshops.
I love that. And I'm also seeing Elliott's Beach mentioned here.
Yes.
Another beach, but a little more laid back than Marina, so you can kind of choose your beach vibe.
Exactly. Elliott's Beach is perfect for like a quiet evening stroll, watch the fishermen haul in their catch.
Okay, so beaches, temples, forts, a zoo, museums.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm thinking Chennai's got to have at least one of everything.
You're not far off.
Right.
We haven't even touched on the art scene yet.
Oh.
Chennai boasts one of India's oldest museums.
Wow.
the government museum with just an insane collection of artifacts.
Okay.
And then you have the National Art Gallery.
Where you can get your fill of bronze sculptures and traditional Tanjore paintings.
Speaking of bronze sculptures, those are a big deal in South India, right?
They are.
Especially the ones from, you mentioned earlier, like that Chola period.
Yeah, so the National Art Gallery has a phenomenal collection.
Okay.
These bronzes aren't just beautiful, they're incredibly detailed. They tell us so much about the religious beliefs and artistic techniques of that time.
It's like they're whispering secrets from the past.
Okay, before we get totally lost in art history, I have to mention the Vandalur Zoo.
Yes.
Officially, the Arignar Anna Zoological Park. This place is huge. Over 1,490 acres and home to over 1,500 species.
The Vandalur Zoo is not only impressive in its size, it's also playing a crucial role in conservation efforts.
Oh, that's awesome.
They're doing amazing work to protect endangered species native to the region.
That's great. Okay, so culture, history, nature. But what about the food? Because these articles you sent are making me seriously hungry.
I bet.
I mean, yeah. All right, we're back. And, you know, as we were talking about those incredible temples and that imposing fort, it really struck me how Chennai just so beautifully blends the ancient and the colonial. It's like a living tapestry of different cultures and eras.
It really is.
And, you know, one thing that really caught my eye in the articles you sent were those bronze sculptures.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the ones from the Chola period.
Right.
They mentioned them being like a major draw at the Government Museum and the National Art Gallery. What makes those so special?
Well, the Chola bronzes, which date back to like the 9th to 13th centuries, are considered some of the finest examples of Indian art.
Wow.
The level of detail is just astounding.
Yeah.
They depict Hindu deities, and every little thing from the ornaments they're wearing to the expressions on their faces is so intricate.
So they're not just statues. No. They're like tiny, super detailed masterpieces.
The little masterpieces.
Yeah.
And they weren't just meant to be admired. These bronzes played a central role in temple rituals.
Okay.
They were sacred objects.
So when we look at them today, we're not just seeing art.
No.
We're getting a glimpse into the religious practices and beliefs of the Chola period. That's pretty amazing.
It is. It's like having a window into the past.
Okay, tell me more about that chariot monument, the Veluvar Kodam. It's dedicated to a Tamil poet, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thiruvalluvar.
Okay.
He lived sometime between the 4th century BCE and the 1st century CE.
Okay.
And he wrote this incredible work called the Thirukkural.
The articles mentioned it, a collection of over 1,000 verses. That's a lot of writing.
1,330 couplets, to be precise.
Wow.
And they cover all sorts of topics, you know, ethics, love, politics, you name it. It's considered one of the greatest works of Tamil literature. Wow. And Thiruvalluvar is still revered today as this wise sage.
So this chariot monument, it's like a tribute to his wisdom and his words.
Exactly. It symbolizes the chariot of wisdom carrying his teachings through time.
Wow.
It's really quite impressive.
It's amazing how all these seemingly random things, temples, forts, bronze sculptures, a chariot monument to a poet, all come together to tell the story of Chennai.
That's the beauty of exploring a place like this, you know?
Yeah.
You peel back the layers and you start to see the connections, how the past informs the present.
I love that. And, you know, we've been talking a lot about Chennai itself, but it's also known as the gateway to South India.
That's right.
Have you thought about exploring the surrounding region?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just thinking about that from what I'm seeing here.
Yeah.
Tamil Nadu, the state where Chennai is located, has a ton of amazing places to visit.
Yes. So many.
Like Madurai.
Oh, yeah.
With its Meenakshi Amman temple.
Right. Another incredible example of Dravidian architecture.
Okay.
Just one of the most important temples in South India.
Wow.
And then there's Thanjavur, known for its Brihadiswar temple.
Okay.
A UNESCO World Heritage Site.
Wow.
It's also a great place to see more of those Chola bronzes we were just talking about.
Okay, you're really tempting me now.
Right.
Temples, sculptures, but I also love nature. Does Tamil Nadu have any good spots for that?
Oh, absolutely. Tamil Nadu has some beautiful hill stations.
Oh, okay.
Perfect for escaping the heat and enjoying the mountain scenery.
Hill stations. I'm intrigued.
Think rolling hills covered in tea plantations, waterfalls cascading down the slopes, crisp mountain air.
Okay, that sounds amazing. Do you have any favorites?
Udi's probably the most famous one.
Right.
It's got a very British colonial feel.
Uh-huh.
Lots of charming buildings and gardens.
Yeah.
Kodaikanal's another popular choice.
Okay.
Known for its beautiful lake and forests.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Yercaud.
Okay.
Which is a bit more off the beaten track, but equally stunning.
So you could easily spend a couple of weeks just exploring Tamil Nadu.
Oh, easily.
Starting in Chennai and then branching out.
Absolutely.
This is turning into quite the itinerary.
I told you, gateway to South India is no exaggeration.
Okay. I need to stop looking at these pictures of mountains and temples because I'm getting serious wanderlust.
I bet.
But before we plan our dream trip to Tamil Nadu,
okay,
I have to hear more about the food. We were talking about those South Indian staples.
Yes.
Idli and dosa.
All right.
Paint me a picture.
Okay.
What's the experience like?
All right, picture this. You're at a local eatery.
Okay.
The air is filled with the aroma of spices.
Uh-huh.
And there's a gentle sizzle coming from the kitchen.
Oh, yeah.
A plate arrives piled high with fluffy white idli.
Okay.
And crispy golden brown dosa.
Okay, I'm already drooling, but remind me, what exactly are idli and dosa?
So idli are these steamed rice cakes.
Okay.
Made from a batter of fermented rice and lentils.
Uh-huh.
They're incredibly light and fluffy, almost like little clouds.
Okay.
Dosa is made from the same batter.
Okay.
But it's spread thin and cooked on a hot griddle.
Yeah.
Like a crepe, so it gets nice and crispy.
And they're served with?
Coconut chutney and sambar.
Right.
Of course.
Describe those for me. I'm all about the details.
So the coconut chutney is this...
It sounds like the perfect combination of flavors and textures.
It is.
I'm officially adding idli and dosa to my must-try list.
Good choice.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and we can't forget about pongal.
Oh, right. Pongal.
It's this flavorful rice dish, often made with jaggery, a type of cane sugar, and lentils, and it's seasoned with pepper, ginger, and cumin. So aromatic and delicious.
So many delicious things to try.
I know.
And I'm sure we'll be back for more of that filter coffee you mentioned earlier.
Definitely. That's a must-have Chennai experience.
All right, I think it's time to take a little break.
Okay.
Let all this deliciousness sink in.
Mm-hmm.
We've covered so much already. Temples, sculptures.
I know, right?
Beaches, hill stations, and now all this amazing food.
Yeah.
But we're not done yet. We've got more hidden gems to uncover and some practical tips to help you make the most of your Chennai adventure.
So, stay tuned for part 3 of our deep dive. Welcome back to our Chennai deep dive. You know, I could really go for a strong cup of coffee after all that talk about
absolutely.
idli dosa and sambar. Speaking of coffee, you mentioned Chennai's famous filter coffee.
Right.
I'm ready to hear all about it.
Oh, filter coffee, Chennai's liquid gold.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all about the brewing method.
Yeah.
They use this special metal filter, which gives it that strong aromatic flavor that Chennai is known for.
So it's not your average drip coffee?
No.
What's the whole experience like? How is it served?
Right, so picture this.
Okay.
You're at a local coffee stall, you know, one of probably hundreds across the city. The air is thick with the smell of roasting coffee beans and spices.
Ooh.
You order your coffee and the vendor, a true artist, starts the brewing process, pours the steaming hot coffee back and forth between a small metal cup called the Devara and a larger container called a tumbler.
This creates that frothy layer on top, and the whole process is mesmerizing to watch.
Okay, that sounds like a show in itself.
It is.
And I bet it tastes incredible.
Oh, it does. It's strong, it's bold, but the addition of milk and sugar mellows it out perfectly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's the perfect pick-me-up.
Yeah.
And you'll see everyone from students to businessmen enjoying their filter coffee at these stalls.
I am adding find a local coffee stall to my Chennai to-do list.
Good choice.
That sounds like a true cultural experience. But speaking of practicalities, I'm curious about the best way to get around Chennai. We talk about public transportation, but are there any other options?
Yeah, Chennai has a surprisingly efficient transportation system.
Okay.
As we discussed, the metro is a great option, especially for longer distances.
Yeah.
But if you want to experience Chennai like a local, I'd recommend hopping on an auto rickshaw.
Those colorful three-wheeled vehicles I've seen in pictures. Those seem a
little daring.
Yeah, daring.
Yeah, weaving through traffic.
Yeah.
But they're also a fun and efficient way to get around, especially for shorter trips.
Okay.
Just remember to negotiate the fare before you get in.
Noted. Negotiate first, ride later.
Yeah.
Good advice.
Exactly.
Now, before we wrap up, I want to make sure our listeners prepared for anything.
Okay.
Are there any cultural nuances they should be aware of?
India is a diverse country with customs and traditions that might be different from what you're used to. Chennai is a pretty cosmopolitan city, but it's always good to be mindful and respectful.
Yeah.
For example, conservative attire is generally appreciated, especially when visiting temples or religious sites.
So maybe skip the tank top and shorts when visiting the Kapaleeshwarar Temple.
Exactly. It's all about showing respect for the local culture.
Okay.
And remember to remove your shoes before entering temples and some homes.
Okay.
Simple gesture, but it goes a long way.
Makes sense. Anything else to keep in mind?
One thing that often catches visitors off guard is the concept of Indian time.
Oh, right.
Things don't always run on a strict schedule.
Okay.
So try to be flexible, go with the flow, embrace that relaxed pace of life, and enjoy the journey.
I love that. When in Chennai, do as the Chennaites do.
Right.
Soak it all in.
Right.
Well, I think we've covered an incredible amount of ground in this deep dive.
I think so.
We've explored historical landmarks, delved into the art and culture scene, imagined ourselves savoring those culinary delights.
Absolutely.
And even navigated the practicalities of getting around. But before we say goodbye, is there anything we've missed, any last hidden gems you want to share?
With all the excitement of the city, I think it's easy to overlook the simple beauty of Chennai's coastline.
Right.
Take some time to stroll along the beach, feel the sand between your toes, and watch the sunset over the Bay of Bengal.
I love it.
It's a moment of tranquility that will stay with you long after your trip.
What a perfect way to end our Chennai adventure. So whether you're drawn to Chennai's rich history, its vibrant culture, its tantalizing cuisine, or the serenity of its beaches, this city truly has something for everyone.
It does.
It's a city that invites you to explore, to discover, and connect with its soul. It's a journey that will enrich your senses, expand your horizons, and leave you with memories to cherish. And on that note, we'll bid you farewell. We hope this deep dive has ignited your wanderlust and inspired you to experience the magic of Chennai for yourself. Safe travels, and until next time, happy exploring.